So is Paraguay a complete waste of time? It has two options. You can either get the temporary residency, literally no qualifying criteria, just turn up with your passport, police report, and maybe a couple of bank statements, and that suffices. No need to even get a visa, entry visa, if you're from a visa-free country. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. That's the temporary. A written declaration can get you a permanent residency, right? You're going to declare, you're going to move some money in the future. You don't have to move it right now. You get a direct permanent residency in Paraguay. But the big question here is, does it make any sense? Is it a complete waste of time? Yes, it's a complete waste of time if you're looking for any kind of citizenship. And even if you're talking about tax advantages, there's a caveat, there's a catch to it, right? So I'm going to discuss that. And in the second half of this video, I'm going to discuss a hidden gem, a real permanent residency. And I have two important criteria to call something real. First, it's truly permanent, meaning it cannot be cancelled, right? You have no expiry date, it's indefinite, truly permanent, no minimum physical presence needed to maintain it. Also, something very important over here for my kind of viewers, my kind of subscribers, my clients are usually looking for citizenship. They don't want a dummy or so-called residency, which doesn't make any sense. They want something that actually gets you a citizenship at the end of the day, along with the flexibility. So the second option that I'm going to discuss towards the end is going to be this truly permanent residency with no expiry dates, with flexibility, and which also gets you that all important nationality. So make sure you watch this video right through till the end. Before we get there, let's first address the elephant in the room. What about Paraguay? Now, a lot of people talking over the internet, making videos, don't actually even understand the Plan B stuff properly. Most of them try to shove Paraguay down your throat. They get excited because it's simple to do, it's straightforward, it's cost effective, it's cheaper. But what's the point? I mean, why are you getting this? The biggest issue is that you don't get citizenship. I mean, even if you somehow manage to qualify, let's say you do the physical presence, it requires substantial physical presence, right? You got to live there most of the time. No one has that time to live in Paraguay to chase a Paraguayan citizenship. But let's say you put in the time, you do all this hard work, you apply for citizenship, go through the bureaucracy, go through all the years that it takes for the processing. It does not allow dual citizenship with most countries. There's only two countries that it allows dual citizenship with. Most of my viewers and clients and subscribers, they're looking for multiple citizenships. So let's say you have an Italian passport or a Spain passport. That's not going to be sufficient, right? You're not going to sit with these two. You want to have more. So in that sense, it's pretty useless. You can't have dual citizenship with your natural nationality or most of the nationalities, then what's the point? So that's one major disadvantage. That's why I feel this is no point getting. And second, let's make an argument for the territorial tax system. Now, even if you were to seek advantages of the territorial tax system that Paraguay offers, you got to be a tax resident first. That's the first thing. The second thing is you got to just justify your home country. Your home country typically is going to accept your foreign tax residency if you're living there for most of the time, right? Which means more than 6 months in a year. So are you going to be able to do that in Paraguay? Are you ready right now to actually go and quit your life in your home country or whatever structure you have, quit everything just for the tax benefits, go to Paraguay, start living there, get a tax residency, and then exit your tax system? Looking at 9% tax in Paraguay, does that make any sense? And okay, you do it once, but are you going to continue to maintain that as your tax residency? A lot of people aren't practically going to do this, right? Very few people might be interested in this kind of a structure. Some retired people, who are specifically trying to just cut off their ties with the rest of the world and start living inside of Paraguay. It's too hot. It's very hot. A lot of people don't like that hot weather. For most people, this is going to be useless. Now that you understand the deal with Paraguay, let's move on to a second option, right? And there are two actually. I want to discuss a couple of options, but first let's talk about the one which I promised, right? And this one is a direct permanent residency. Now it's not a one-day process like Mexico. Now I keep talking about Mexico very highly because it's not only flexible, it's not only permanent. Eventually you get your citizenship. but also it's a 1 day process for obtaining the card with us. This is the fastest residency card issuance in the world. This permanent residency, which I'm going to address in this video, is from South Africa. And hang on, let me first explain why this is so important. With this, we have struck one of the fastest way of obtaining the South African permanent residency is actually petitioning against the immigration. So if you don't get it in the stipulated time frame, there's a court case against immigration. We get an enforcement order against the immigration. So that way they have to make a decision. That way we are able to make this the fastest, faster than anyone else, because we have created this process to get this benefit sooner for our clients. And we have multiple attorneys who are helping us get this right as soon as possible. So this permanent residency is truly permanent in the real sense, where this is a lifelong option. The green booklet that you get does not have an expiry date. You do, of course, have to enter the country once every 3 years, but that's not maintaining minimum physical presence. That is entering the country once, right? So you have these kind of requirements. Even the Mexican citizenship, you got to be there in the 5-year period, right? You got to be showing your connections to the country. Same way over here, it's truly permanent. No minimum physical presence needed to maintain this South African permanent residency, but you do have to enter the country once every 3 years. So those are two benefits right there. First, no expiry date. Second, no minimum physical presence needed inside the country. And this leads to citizenship. This is a perfect complement to the Mexican option. Where you're Mexico, you have started the clock. You're working yourself towards that one of the strongest passports in the world. Far stronger than the American and Canadian one, in my opinion. And whatever I'm discussing, this is not immigration advice. This is my personal analysis and educational content. So this is a perfect complement with the South African option. Here you're obtaining the permanent residency. After 5 years, you can apply for citizenship. And then it has the citizenship itself is pretty interesting, right? So there are some very minimum physical presence requirements for the citizenship. You satisfy that, you structure that along with Mexico. At one point in time, you satisfy your Mexican requirements, you apply for that nationality while you're working on your South African one. They both are rock solid green passports, exotic greens, different greens. So while you're working on your red ones outside, you're working on your green ones. Another exotic green option is Vanuatu, which I rarely recommend. Only in certain circumstances you go and directly purchase the Vanuatu passport. Not for everyone, but what is for the masses is the Mexican option for solidity, for the real tough, rock solid, beautiful citizenship and a passport, and South Africa for their geopolitical diversification. Now the chips are low. This is the time when the South African graph is at its lowest. This is the time when you take advantage, right? And this one literally has no active, no passive. It's simply a donation to the government. The prices are super low. The donation is 6,800 approximately. You part this money after you're approved. So you don't have to give this upfront. Once you get the approval for your permanent residency, that's when you commit this capital, give this to the government, donate this to the government, and then they give you your permanent residency. So then this starts your clock towards your African citizenship. Mexico starts your clock towards the Mexican citizenship. So this is a very good combination to strike. And this is not the only combination. There are several other options, right? You also want the reds. Maybe you have a single blue, that's not good enough, right? You want to have the reds, you want to have the greens. So there are the red options, multiple red options. Some you can purchase right off the bat, like Turkey, Malta. Those are the reds that you can purchase, but there are a lot of reds that you can look at by citizenship by exception if you qualify. Or let's say you're striking a visa, a flexible visa, a golden visa, you can strike those options as well. And at any point in time you want to discuss your portfolio, you want to get started with multiple flexible options. A lot of my Saudi, Dubai, American, Australian, Canadian, British clients are looking to strike a portfolio with flexible residencies in different parts of the world. And when the right time comes, they give the right attention to those countries at given points in time, and that way they can qualify for multiple nationalities and collect all those citizenships that they have been desiring, right? You plant the seeds today, and tomorrow you pluck the fruits. That's how it goes. I hope you like this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. And if you aren't yet subscribed, make sure to subscribe to the channel because I keep discussing different options, useful options, so you know which ones to go for, which ones to pick, and which ones to discard. And just in case you have missed that one-day procedure for obtaining the Mexican residency card, hop onto this video. This talks about this whole matter in a lot of detail. All right, catch you in this one.